down the serif here. Today we're going to go ahead and read the rest of Daniel chapter 2. We left off at verse 28. We can go ahead and start. Left off at, "But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dreams and the vision of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king. But for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation of the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart." In other words, he's sanctifying the name of God. He's not taking any glory from our king. And he's saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. I didn't know what you dreamt. But God, he knew what you dreamt because he's the one who gave it to you. And I'm not giving this information because I'm so wise, but instead I'm giving this information because I pleaded for the lives of the wise men. Verse 31 goes like this: "Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible." Now this doesn't mean that it was like ugly. It means terrible, like it was large and scary, or highly triumphant looking. You know, something that was not so much terrible as in it was horrible. Terrible as in it was strong and potent. "This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that stone was cut out without hands." That's important. Cut without hands. Cut without hands. Cut, but not by man. That's what that means. Which is important. And Lord's willing, I'll put some scriptures up, probably like right here, like just about the altar, how it was. You weren't supposed to use an altar of hewn stone, and then just one of my favorite scriptures about. I'm gonna put it here. It's gonna be here now. Jesus and what he said about the temple and what he could do with it. All right. "Thou sawest till that stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet." Oh yeah, an image just means statue. I mean, that's what I pretty much take it as, a statue. You could, right here. "Which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors." Now, threshing floors are like spots that were set out. The reason why I bring this up, just so we can understand, Daniel is making what is that called? Daniel's making one of those things, where you talk about what something is, what you like. Oh, there we go, simile. He's making a simile about the way that the pieces looked compared to something that was actually common to them, but is not exactly common to all of us right now. I know specifically for me, it was not common at all. But a threshing floor is a spot in which usually someone who has, of course, crops, and specifically wheat, will thresh, which is just to take a very sharp and cone-like looking object and beat it till it's and I'm gonna check on this. If this is not right, I'm just gonna delete this. You guys will never see this. But just beat the wheat until the bad stuff separates from the good stuff, and it's not so much that there's any bad stuff, but rather the stuff that we don't eat. Then this stuff becomes like a mess. So usually, you know, I remember I read a little bit of it. I remember they took shovels and threw it out towards the local winds of the whatever bodies of water were there, and then that wind would separate the two. But I do separate the bad from the good, and the rest is just debris. That debris easily blows away, and so basically, he's alluding that they were blown away oh so easily, though they were so great. Chaff of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven, hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this gold head. And after thee shall arise another kingdom, inferior to thee, inferior to thee, and another kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. Iron does this now. Okay. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be, partly strong, partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave unto them, unto one another rather, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. A kingdom which shall never be destroyed, which is pretty much the main point of the whole of us reading this. Is actually about this rock. And this rock is absolutely wonderful, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof is sure. Or thereof sure. Alright, that was Daniel's encounter. There's more to chapter 2 about the different gifts that the king gave unto Daniel, but that was just the one portion that I wanted to read as far as the rock goes with Daniel. Lord's willing, we'll be able to read more. These videos, I know maybe you might be expecting me to talk more about like why and what, but I'm trying to just make these videos be a minimal on my interpretation and more maximum on the literal Word of God. Not that we cannot read, but rather that I would love to read with you. So God bless all of you. I hope that you enjoyed it today. I intend to make more videos. If you got anything that you feel like God's leading you on your heart to talk to me about, go right ahead. If you want me to address it on YouTube, it's fine by me. Right? Love all of you. God bless. Shalom.